everyone, welcome back to another episode of Talkin Tuong, the weekly quarantine show where I get to talk to my friends near and far to talk about them. You know what? Every week I say we talk about the movies, the TV shows, the video games, that stuff that matters. You know what? It doesn't really. I'm doing this show for them, for the people. I'm giving back to the community because I just miss these human beings so much. We are still living in the pandemic. There is a light somewhere in the tunnel. Like I see it. It's not in me yet. And by in me, I'm not vaccinated yet, but it's coming and I feel it. And that's okay. That's why we do this show, is to connect with these people, make sure they're doing good, and then talk about whatever. And this week, I am so excited. I'm shocked. You know, I feel as though this person, this human being, should have been on this show way, way, way sooner. But you know, the whole best for last kind of thing. We keep her on like the way back end because you know I have 1,000 friends to go through, and then this person just sent me an angry letter, a mail bomb, and a skunk to my door. So I'm like, okay, let's just do it. Let's do the show. Everyone, I am talking about the magnificent, the majestical, you can't spell Smurfs without Murph, Meghan Murphy.
Thank you. That's correct.
Yeah. Have you got that before?
What, Smurf?
Yeah.
No, because I didn't get called Murph until I came to the comedy scene.
What?
Yeah. No one called me Murph before I started doing improv with y'all. And then Barrow was like, "Can I call you Murph?" And I was like, "Sure." And then it just spread like wildfire.
Oh my God, that is insane. Now I've known you for a while. I don't even know what to call you anymore because I'm going to call you Murph because that's what I'm used to.
That's fine. That's fine with me.
What do you prefer?
I like Murph. I'm cool with Murph. Like Megan now has, ever since Key and Peele did that fucking Megan sketch, I'm always like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Megan, your jacket though. No. And like every second white girl is named Megan.
That's right.
But spelt a different way.
That's, oh my God. It's frustrating. I was thinking about that the other day and I can't remember the exact name, but I'm like, why did you spell it like this? Why didn't you just spell it normally? I know there's normally, quote unquote, but there's like some ways to spell like, it's like spelling Bob, Bauwb instead of BOB. It's unnecessary.
It's like, it's like that. Have you seen that photo of that pregnant lady beside the like chalkboard? Has all the whitest names you've ever seen. Like, oh my God, like Jacqueline, but spelt like a weird fucking way to try to be unique. It gets really stupid. My name is spelt pretty reasonably well,
I think so.
HAN. It's just the H.
It's the H that throws me off.
Yeah,
but it's
everyone
fine.
Forgets it.
Everyone forgets it. It's because you can spell it MEAGHAN, MEEGHAN, which is like, that's the Megan thing going on.
That's Megan. I was in a play where my director was like, "Is it Megan or Megan?" And he would ask me this every single time I came in for rehearsal. And I was like, "It's Megan." Like, have you met someone who's like, "Yeah, it's Megan."
Actually, Mr. Director did.
It's Megan.
That's my stage name anyways.
Yeah.
Well, Murph, I'm so happy you're here today. People have not heard your voice in a long time in the podcast. And you were on
Correct.
the Improv Punch Up. You've been you've been ranking things with us every now and then, but not on Talkin Tuong.
Not on Talkin Tuong, no. And that's why I sent you that skunk.
Yeah, it was super unnecessary. The first written email would have done and sufficed.
You know, I just thought, hey, Captain Meatball needs an experience. And also, I'm pissed at Tug.
I've been also thinking about this whole skunk thing on dogs because I follow a dog of KW group on Facebook and like Reddits, and they're all like, my dog got skunked. And I'm like, I don't want it to happen, but I know it will, and it's going to suck.
It is going to suck. Well, how old is he? He's young, yeah?
He's young, yeah. I think he's a year and a half, we think.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so,
he's young.
I mean, he's gonna try to make friends with a skunk for sure.
He tried to make friends with like multiple squirrels this morning. I bet you. Yes, he loves making friends, quote unquote.
Not good at it.
Not good at it. He's very in your face about it.
Yeah, that's the kind of dog way of like, hey, hang out with me.
Please. It kind of reminds us of us in real life, where it's kind of like, please, please.
I need humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. For surezies.
Murph, so for the people who don't know who you are on a more personal level, who's Meghan Murphy?
What a question. I mean, I've been in therapy for 7 years to try to get that question going. No, I mean, I do improv. I'm an improviser. I used to think I was going to be an actor. And then that's why I was in like plays around Ottawa. And I was like, man, this sucks.
Isn't that funny that we all thought we were going to be actors?
And then I was like, this will just kill the passion I have for acting if it's my job. Like, kudos to people who try to do it for a living, but it's not for me. Yeah.
It's one of those things with acting where it's so stupid. It's kind of like, I'm pretty sure if I wanted to do it, I could make it, but I don't want to put in the effort. And now I'm mad because nobody has found my talent because I didn't put any of this work in, and I'm mad about it.
Yeah. That's how I feel about everything. Like, I bought a keyboard during quarantine and I'm like, why am I not a master pianist when I put absolutely no time and effort into practicing?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I think that sums me up. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm an improviser. I did sketch comedy with the Shit Hot Shit Show for a while. I'm gonna be a cat mom soon. I'm so stoked about it.
Yes, you sent me a picture, and how does that make you feel, Murph? The being a cat mom. I mean, we're recording this on Mother's Day, so it's very like, that I timed it because of this.
Next year I will be celebrating it. I'm so excited about it. I have waited a really long time I've wanted to have my own pet for years and years, but I waited like a responsible person until I had like an actual job.
Right.
So I'm now like, I work for the federal government.
Whoa, you are a completely new person then.
An actual like real adult. Like, I can't believe like I finally have health insurance for the first time in like 8 years. So for those who don't know me, I take a lot of medication. So going now to like the pharmacy and them being like, oh, it's $6 for your prescription. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I was paying $40 for this before.
Wow. Yeah.
And like, having like a pension.
Why, I mean, that's a government thing, I think, because I hear this word pension and I don't get that.
Yeah, I know. And having like, I mean, this is a super privileged thing to say, but like, I now have more money in my bank account than I know what to do with. And I find it really stressful, actually, to be like,
oh no, this does sound privileged.
It is. It's so privileged to be like, it's really stressful. I want my money to be doing things, not just sitting in my checking account. You know what I mean, guys?
Yeah.
It is such an asshole thing to be worried about, but yeah. So now I'm like, whatever, blowing all my money on these 2 cats.
Wait, it's 2 cats. You said 2 cats?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, because the rescue has a rule that if you're adopting a kitten under like a certain age, you have to either adopt them together or the kitten has to go to a house that already has a cat.
Right.
And I think it's to kind of drop the chances of like people bringing the kitten back and being like, this kitten's crazy. It has so much energy and I don't know what to do with it.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. It's chewing all the things and I ignore it for half a day. I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Why isn't my cat being an actor yet?
Yeah.
It's the whole,
like all those people who got puppies during quarantine and then were like, take it back, SPCA.
Oh man, that's so sad. That's so sad. I mean, we were COVID. We got a COVID dog too, but like I knew in my heart, it's just that's my life. And when Father's Day comes, you bet your ass I'm going to be celebrating it for my dog.
good job, Tongue. I've raised a good dog.
Yeah. As he chases squirrels and stuff. But you know what? It's fine. I give him love. It's okay.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a thing where people I feel so bad for animals out there that get adopted under these not fads. I'm not sure what the word is. It's like a fleeting feeling of needing something. And once you get that something, you're like, I don't need you anymore. And I think about it in the way of how the pandemic has, where it's put everyone at home. And then you had that moment, a couple moments where it's like, okay, everyone back to work. And these people are like, okay, well, back to work. I don't have time for you anymore. Bye-bye. And I'm like, those animals, poor animals, man.
Well, the biggest thing too was people were dealing with obviously animals who had massive separation anxiety, because you get this dog and gets completely used to you being at the house all day. And then you're like, okay, got to go back to my 8-hour-a-day job at the office for that brief moment of time that we had that. And the dogs are freaking out at home. Yeah. And they're like, I don't know. I can't deal. I'm not going to work with you because fuck it. I got you because you're cute and I was at home. And now, no, thank you.
I hate that.
Gross.
Hey, if you're listening to this show and you think like that, get out of here. Get out. Animal lovers only. Animal lovers only on this podcast.
Yeah. I made a very big deal when I talked to the rescue of being I know that these cats are not for me, my job is to give them a home. Yeah. It's I just gotta deal with them. And they were like, okay, good. And I was like, yeah.
So with you, Murph, you're working from home now. We don't have to talk about your work life and what you do for work and stuff like that. But you work from home, so you're able to care for these pets and stuff like that. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And is that once we get back into where it once was in a more open world, do you have to go back, or you can balance between home and
I hope so. I really hope. I mean, I'm a disabled person, right? So I hope that when things start opening up again, and it seems like it is going to be kind of hybrid work where people can work from home and maybe go a couple days into the office. I would love to do something like that. Yeah. Where a majority of the time I'm working from home, but I go into the office 2 days a week or something like that.
That's what I think our workplace is kind of like that too. Look at us, adults talking about work. I know,
right? You have to understand, for people who are listening to this, when Tom knew me before, I worked at Reitman's part-time. And I went to college part-time. Yeah. And now I work a full-time job and I'm a college graduate. So.
It's an incredible journey Murph went through. And I've seen it. I've been friends with Murph for a very long time. It's to spend so much money on medication and go to school and just dealing with the pressures of the comedy world at the time. And there's just, you know what I mean? It's just all these things that can work against you. So it's really inspiring and awesome to see you on such a new, brighter path. And of course there's challenges along the way, but it's kind of you go through that huge hump that you finally conquered. Yeah. And now you're rolling in money. Look at you.
I talk about investments like a TFSA investment.
Yes.
I'm so boring. No, and I will be getting vaccinated quite soon, actually.
Wow. Okay. All right. We get it. Your life is amazing now.
Yeah. Well, I'm high risk, right?
Yes. You deserve it.
They opened it up for me on Thursday. So my vaccine is, I'm just looking at my calendar. I get vaccinated on the 21st at 8:30 p.m.
Wow. And I think, and this is the last point, and we'll go on and move on to something else here, but with vaccinations and stuff, and Doug Ford, you're listening to this, it's a whole fucking mess. Let's just say, because I just went through this pre-registration thing. They're like, okay, you're pre-registered to register. Yeah. Stupid. Yeah. Really stupid. And then a friend of mine messages me, is just hey, there's pop-up clinics and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Here's a flyer that I've never received. I'm in one of these neighborhoods where I can go. Mm-hmm. If you call this number or email them, they'll set you an appointment in a few days. And I'm like, what the why do I have to go to this thing and that thing? And then another friend of mine, or Leslie Cherapy, messaged me and was just like, hey, look at this thing. You can actually go to like any of these pharmacies if you fall under these groups. And I'm like, well, I wasn't told that. And then another person was just like, hey, the Vax Hunters on Twitter say there's like a couple open up opportunities here. It's just like, it's a whole shit show.
It's a firestorm.
It's stupid.
to be fair, like these systems have had to be set up extremely quickly in order to try to deal with this stuff. But also, our provincial government is I could go on, but
we won't, because this is not.
We won't, because I don't want to be a downer. Like, it's hard. It's hard. It's
hard. Wow, look at us. Usually on the show, we don't get into this kind of stuff. It's just frustrating, and I think
it's really frustrating. Yeah,
a lot of the time, the reason why this show came to be is because of how frustrating the pandemic has been.
For sure.
So I needed an outlet with other people to connect with people, make them happy and stuff like that.
100%. Like I started setting up a thing where I was like, all right, every other Tuesday, I'm like going to be hosting a Facebook thing because I just need to talk to people.
Yeah.
Like I'm more introverted than most people, but like I still do need human contact just so I can like look people in the face and be like, hey, do you also think this sucks?
Am I crazy? Am I still funny?
Yeah. Like, can I still... It was also like, am I still able to communicate with human beings and be social? Like, have I lost that, skill?
I think we'll all be coming out of this super awkward. And like, honestly, like I'm become more introverted as well, and I always come off as someone who's extroverted and stuff like that, and I can socialize when I need to, but like I value my alone time so fucking much.
Same.
Even from Laura, who lives in the same house, I'm just like at the end of the night, I'm like, let's disconnect, and we'll have a great time when I see you, but like I need tongue time.
That's so healthy though. God. Like I'm not a relationship person. Like, I mean, as long as you've known me, I've never been in a romantic relationship because I'm just like not about it. Because I'm selfish and I hate making compromises.
Yep, that's fair.
But like kudos to y'all who are like just in quarantine together and doing it. Like I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I live with my parents, and every once in a while I'm like, I need no one to talk to me for 2 hours.
Oh my God. If I lived with my parents, I would not. I would just be like,
we'll get into it when we talk about the movie, but like, I have a different relationship with my parents than I think everyone else has.
Okay. I'm excited. Okay. Let's move on to one more thing here. And that's, we kind of talked about a lot of stuff here, but let's talk about one specific thing, which is what are the things that keep you positive and happy during this pandemic?
So my big thing has been, I used to be a dog sitter, no longer a dog sitter. Part of that is unfortunately because no one's going anywhere with COVID, right? So no one is needing to board their dogs with dog sitters. And also because now I have a full-time job and I don't have the energy to do that and also be a dog sitter.
Yeah.
But I realized how much like my mental health hinged on like every once in a while a dog coming in who is just like, I love everything about the world and I want your attention and let's go outside. So my thing that has been keeping me happy is every once in a while I will text my cousin who, if ever I owned a dog, like there is a perfect dog out there for me. The only problem is my cousin owns this dog. So I text my cousin every once in a while and I'm like, hey, can I come steal your dog for a week? And they're like, yes, come take our dog because they're stuck at home with their 2 young girls.
Oh, wow.
And so I go and I steal this dog. His name is Weetabix.
That's a great name.
He's a lovely dog. He's the dog for me because he loves like walks in the forest off leash and like that little bit of energy out. And then he's like, okay, let's lay on the couch for the rest of the day. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, that's amazing. I that's where we're training Captain Meatball to go. He's just like, we don't let him off leash because the times that happen, he just doesn't want to come back. But so we have him on this like 30-foot long leash. It's just like a gas long leash and we just let him go. And some people get annoyed, but I'm like, fuck you. This is a way for him to be off leash and then grab him if he's trying to get away.
Yeah. He's a retriever, right?
He is actually yeah, he's a retriever. Yeah, what am I trying to say?
Yeah,
Yes, he's a
he
retriever.
has a pretty high prey drive. So yeah,
You
it
think?
gets
Yeah,
like
yes. I
that's
was
why I was
getting
like,
mixed up because he's so many different types of dogs. I'm like, okay, yes, he's a retriever. He's a Siberian
oh,
Husky.
did you guys do the DNA results for him?
Hell yeah, we did.
Heck yeah,
Hell
dog.
yeah. Hell yeah, we did. Laura said we didn't need to. And I'm like, I'm fucking
I
doing
want
it.
to know.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
Which I recommend to anybody who is just curious about their dog. Cause like for me, like we got to learn so much about his history and also like
Mhm.
maybe health defects that he might
Yeah.
have down the road and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Super valuable stuff. But I've heard some people that have done DNA tests, which is like, oh man, that sucks that you paid for that, which is like, what
Yeah.
kind of dog is my dog? A golden retriever.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I mean, you do have to kind of situational.
Yeah. But
Like
for me, it was just like, okay, Cap's a retriever, he's a Siberian Husky, he's a pug, he's a Shih Tzu, he's a Saint Bernard, he's a mutt, he's like everything.
he's all the
And
things.
and that was interesting to me.
Well, it also and it does also help you know with training too what you need to look
Yeah.
out for. Like, because if he's a lot of husky, like, hoo boy, they are special dogs.
Oh man, yeah, he's a special boy. Which is kind of now I know if you ever move down here, I can just pawn Captain Meeple on you for like a week because that'd
I
be
mean, I'll have cats at that point though, so who
yeah,
knows?
that's true. That might be a bad idea.
Although, like, my plan is because I'm getting them so young, I do want to expose them to Weetabix because there's no way that I'm not still gonna
Of
steal
course,
Weetabix.
of course.
So I
Okay,
want
yeah,
them to, yeah,
you
I
gotta
want
get them
them.
to get along.
Yeah. It's like, they're still in their socialization period, so you can introduce them to a lot of shit that
Yeah,
they can be like, you can like lean them into things. That's
yeah.
a weird way to say it, but you get what I mean. You
Yeah,
get what I mean.
I get everybody gets what you mean.
Thank
Everybody
you so
gets.
much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Okay, Murph, let's get into the news of the week. The news of the week. And of course, these are just pop culture headlines that I'm seeing for the first time on IGN.com because I'm too lazy to just scour any other part of the internet.
That sounds
And
fair.
it's, I don't even read these articles. I'm just reading the headlines. That's what I'm here
Yeah.
for.
Okay.
All right, Murph. Taika Waititi
Hell
to
yeah.
play
Hell yeah.
the legendary pirate Blackbeard in HBO Max's Our Flag Means Death. I never heard of this show, but
Me neither.
Taika as Blackbeard. Discuss.
I love Taika. I cried really hard at Jojo Rabbit. I think that movie
So good.
is so great. I'm a big old fan of Taika. Yeah, is it supposed to be a comedy? Do you know? Just the headline doesn't say.
The headline does not say.
I'm gonna
It's a comedy. Oh, I'm
okay,
reading just the first
say,
sentence. Comedy. Yeah.
I was gonna assume if Taika's in it, I think it's gonna be a comedy. Not that I don't think he can do other things, but
Yeah, he's just
mostly
really
what
good.
he does is comedy.
Yes. I love him and everything. And I think he's approaching that point where people are going to turn on him just because that's how fame works is like
That's how tabloids work.
oh my God, you root for the little guy. The little guy gets it. The little guy gets more roles. Everyone loves the little guy. And now it's like, he's in too much.
No. He's too big. We can't.
We can't.
Like,
I
that's
don't
what
like
happened.
him.
That's what happened to Jennifer Lawrence. That's what happened to, like, it happens all the time.
Everybody, I feel like it's happening, or if not already happened to Tom Holland.
Yes.
like to that. It's just like
but I think that was because of what's that new movie he's in, Cherry?
Cherry, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people were very pleased with it, especially if you've read like the memoir of it.
Oh, did not. Is that based on a true story?
Yeah, it is. And I think we're also coming to a point, or at least Americans are, where the like blind reverence that we have. Again, I'm sorry to make this like super serious.
No,
but,
tell.
The blind reverence that people have for like soldiers is now like.
Yeah. I see.
Because if you read the memoir, like kudos to this guy, the real guy who wrote Cherry, who he didn't like pull any punches. He was like, yeah, when I was overseas, I did fucked up things and I saw fucked up things. And the Russo brothers cannot make a movie where their main character is at anything at all but a good guy. They can't do it.
Right. That's interesting to me because I think the Russo brothers are extremely capable directors and stuff like
I
that.
agree.
But I feel like, yes, they might be like, you know what people need to see? A hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think they deal well with making unlikable characters. They
Mm,
just don't.
right.
Uh, at this
Huh.
point. At this point.
You know what? Their careers are young. You know, the little small time directors, the Russo brothers, are just coming up, you know?
You know, they've done such indie films like Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. Just small little films like
Really
that.
small films. I don't think a lot of people saw it.
You know what else people might have not seen is that the Lord of the Rings, Merry and Pippin, those two actors, are launching their own podcast.
I'm so excited. Okay, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this. My friend Michelle, who does not give a shit about the Lord of the Rings, sent me this article and she was like, I feel like this is your shit. And I was like,
And did
it
you lose it?
absolutely is. I lost my mind because so I'm naming my kittens George and Gil after Oh Hello.
Oh,
But I was very close to either naming them Frodo and Sam or Merry and Pippin.
oh, Merry and Pippin would have been great.
I know. I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan. I'm currently reading The Hobbit, and it is a lovely time. Like I've never read the books, but like the movies were a very big deal in my house.
The Hobbit book, I have such a fascinating relationship with that book because it's not long. It's very readable.
Absolutely.
I've owned 3 copies of it.
Oh,
I've took it out the library and I've never finished the book. I'm always like reading it and I love it, get like halfway, stop, next time 3/4 away, stop. The last time I started reading it, which was only a few years ago, I made it through almost the entire book. I had 20 pages left. Something life event happened, nothing serious, I don't think. I just got distracted. And then I just didn't finish it. I'm like, well, fuck, now I got to start the book over again.
Oh my God. I'm really big for doing that, about getting like partway through a book and putting it down for like weeks and being like, now I got to start over.
I don't remember what happened.
I know. I used to be, and this is such like, the amount of people who have this exact same experience that I'm about to describe is, it's a lot of people. So in high school, I was a massive reader. I would read like 3 books in a week. Granted, I wasn't reading like The Odyssey or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
I was reading like Gossip Girl. But
wait, that's a book?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was just a TV show. Okay.
No, it's a book series. So
wow.
I used to be a massive reader, and then high school ended and I had real troubles picking up books and like actually focusing and reading a book. Turns out I have ADHD. So I'm just like, I'm getting through The Hobbit now. It's taking me a really long time, but like knowing that it's not like, also being on Adderall helps, but
right. I feel like, I always wanted to get tested for something like that too. And I'm just, I should, I also have being lazy as one of my symptoms. It's just like, oh man, I should do this. And I'm not. It's like, come on, Tongue, just get it together. Actually, I did take it upon myself the other day. Look at us talking about everything today. I took it upon myself the other day, a responsible adult human being.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never had chicken pox. As a kid, they told me I was immune to chicken pox, so I'll never get it. But I'm like, I was a kid. I don't remember if my memory as a kid is actually true. Yeah. And we don't have any like doctor records. I've just kind of like in my head immune.
Yeah. In a filing cabinet.
Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, I should probably just double check.
Yeah.
That would really suck. It
would suck.
Yeah. So I went and got a blood test and I'm going to find out in a couple days.
Hell yeah. Especially because how old are you?
I'm 31.
Are you the age where you can get shingles?
No. I don't know, but I know
way older.
Even at my age, it'd fuck me up. So
yeah, it would. Yeah, I have again, like just off topic. I have a spot on my back that is numb like all the time, and I went to go get it checked out. And the guy was so casual about it. He was like, "Yeah, you might have had shingles, and now it's just that you
What?
have this." And I was like, "Are you fucking joking?"
Oh
Another
no.
thing? Another thing?
You have all the things.
I do have all the
You have all
things.
the things, but you're
My
not
body,
broken. You're
no, no,
not,
no. But
you're
it is a
stronger than ever.
miracle that my body can function.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not just like a pile of goop on the
You're not
floor.
goop.
No,
At
yeah.
least so far.
So
No, you'll
far.
never become goop.
What if that's the next stage in human evolution? Is just goop.
What if that's the next disease you get? It's just like
Goop.
it turns you to goop. Yep, goop.
You're goop now. Scoop me up in a jar and bring me around places.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me, it's comic books. Those are the things that keep me kind of,
Reading.
and I've only started to get back into comic books because I'm a big video game guy instead.
Yeah.
But it was just like a really nice, I think I'm such a child. I just need like images and pictures. It's just, I can't stay engaged with just words on a page, even though
Yeah.
I know it sparks imagination and stuff. I just
Yeah.
feel like for me, it's like, most of the time it's like reading a textbook. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, comic books are so fun though.
They're so
Yeah.
fun.
What are you reading?
I'm reading Invincible now
Oh,
because of the
sick.
show
The
was so good,
show.
and I was just like, I gotta read the book now, and that's what I'm doing.
I haven't read it yet, but I'm a big old Steven Yeun fan. Did you watch Minari?
I didn't. I want to. I
Oh
was
my God,
yeah.
it's so good,
Yeah.
Tom.
I know. When I look at Steven Yeun, and I've gushed about him before too, I'm just like, he's me. If
He's
I
such
actually put in the work, and
what
this
a
guy,
handsome dude.
you know what? It's funny. My parents, because it's another tangent. Here we go. Stephen Yeun had a story where his parents gave him 2 years to explore comedy, something around those lines. They gave him like a
Yeah.
little window that was just like, hey, we don't want you to become an actor. We don't want you to do this comedy thing. You're not going to
Yeah,
make money.
yeah,
It's a very parental, but also Asian thing where it's like, you're not making the money. It's a
yeah.
very selfish thing you're doing right now.
Right.
Because it's a very, acting is a very me thing.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
like Asian thought, which is like you do things for the family.
Family for the community. Yeah.
So Stephen Yeun did the 2 years, got Walking Dead, and like just started getting big and big and big. Minari and stuff, and even now they're like, his parents are like, well, I'm not sure if he's that big yet, even though he's kind of a big deal now.
Yes.
But it kind of reminds me of like how my parents gave me a similar situation where they're like, all right, you have a few years, and then by the time you hit 30, you should just drop it all and just get a real job.
Yeah.
And I'm 31. I didn't take them up their offer when I was young. I kind of just did my own thing. And going back to our previous conversation, I'm still bitter, being like, man,
I could have been Steven Yeun.
Yeah, look at this. And if I started a YouTube channel early enough, I could have been super famous, and just being bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I have the #1 podcast in the world, Talkin Tuong. So
absolutely.
just raking
Everyone
in those
listens to
dollars.
When I told my coworkers I was going to be on this, they were jealous.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. They're going to love our conversation about literally everything today. Okay, let's do a couple more news stories and get into the movie of the week. And let's see here. What are we interested in here? Are you interested in this headline, which is scientists have translated radio signals from Venus atmosphere into sound?
What? How would that even work?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, neither do I. I think whenever I see those headlines, I'm like, oh, nice. And then I just like move on. Because if I start to try to like figure it out in my mind, I'm like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I just don't. Can someone explain this to me that isn't Elon Musk?
Oh my. Oh.
All right. That might be the next headline here, which is
him on SNL.
He was on SNL. I watched I didn't watch the monologue. I watched like 2 clips of him in 2 sketches, and I didn't even watch the whole sketch because I'm like, I hate this. I hate this. Thoughts?
I hate billionaires. I think they're gross people, even if they're nice people. I think hoarding, I mean, this is all things that everyone I feel like is now becoming aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are already aware of those things were like minority and oppressed groups.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for getting there late, minority and oppressed groups, but liberal white people are coming to just be here.
Yep.
I think he's gross. I think humanizing billionaires is gross, which is what SNL is trying to do. I think it's in a similar vein of when Donald Trump went on Jimmy Fallon.
Oh God, I hated that.
Yeah, I think it's a gross thing. I think I saw a headline about it, which was he in the monologue he talked about having Asperger's.
Oh yes.
Like, great. That doesn't that doesn't excuse you from being a douche and spreading really harmful information.
Mm-hmm.
Dan
Aykroyd also had Asperger's, and so he was actually the first, and Elon Musk was here just being like, I'm the first, blah blah blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it because I'm not interested in people trying to humanize billionaires. Literally, I saw the like headlines about him being on SNL, and I wrote a premise for a sketch that I'm going to write on Friday, which is billionaires being relatable, or billionaires trying to be relatable, because I think it's ridiculous.
Well, if you need a real life billionaire, me, to be,
you're gonna play him. Yeah,
Murph, I don't know if I like. Ever since I started the podcast, I'm fucking rich now. I am
rolling in money.
I'm just all of that money in my bank account that I don't even know what to do with it anymore. Unrelated, I'm gonna have to sell the house. So no. Yeah, Elon Musk, you suck. Anyways, let's move on. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, you gave your child a very ridiculous name.
I just think, well, whatever. I think it's a very, I feel like an old person saying this, but it's kind of like you cater towards the kids, and the kids love Elon Musk because he's so memeable, whatever.
Do they?
I guess he has a lot of likes and follows and retweets and stuff because of the things he says. And some of the stuff he says is kind of funny in a meme kind of way.
Yeah. Of the absurdity of this man saying this thing.
Sure. And it's kind of cool, but that doesn't make you a cool guy. It just means whatever you say can be funny, but doesn't mean you are all the time.
Yeah. I think I was super interested to see what happened when did you see the article about how when Donald Trump got banned from Twitter and Facebook, the mentions of Donald Trump on Twitter and Facebook are gone now. I was like, I would love if we did that with all billionaires until they start redistributing their wealth. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Kind of the thing with the SNL that bothers me, and I've been on and off an SNL fan for years. I love a lot of the actors and actresses that come out of SNL, and some of their sketches are legendary and great. I'm just not a regular fan. But the thing is, I feel like SNL over the last couple of years has built up a credibility in the way that they had a kind of a lull period, but then Trump got into presidency, and we don't have to talk about him specifically, but more that they started to become a champion of satirical comedy in a way that was political, but also not attacking, but shining light onto really shitty people in the world.
Yeah.
And it started to become okay, SNL, you're starting to get it together. I kind of like this version of you. Then when you bring on someone like Elon Musk, it's you're fucking...
It's really hypocritical almost.
Yeah.
To be hey, look at this corruption. Here's Elon Musk.
It just feels
dumb.
It's almost a betrayal. And again, I'm not a regular fan, so I'm not exactly her, but on the someone outside looking in, for the most part, it's just the thing that you were talking about, you're doing it now. And it just feels gross because we all need a hero.
Yeah.
The Russo brothers know that. That's why they made
They
Cherry.
do. That's why they made Cherry.
That's why they made Cherry. So it sucks when you take that away from us
Yeah.
and betray your values.
Yeah, it's so weird too because like if you're thinking about like the demographic of people who watch SNL, like I don't understand how you're like, yeah, let's put Elon Musk on SNL because this will fit in with our demographic when they've cultivated, like you said, they've cultivated this like satirical edge of like, hey, look at this bullshit person.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very weird choice.
Yeah. And the
And
sketches, like, again, I've only watched like 30 seconds of like two. They're
yeah,
bad. They're bad. One of
he's
them
not, yeah,
seemed okay.
yeah,
But that was like a Pete Davidson led one. So that was pretty good.
yeah.
But the rest are just bad. Oh, God.
Well, he's not
it.
an actor. He's not a comedian. He's
a
just a man, like a smart dude who uses his money to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, exactly. And then names his child weird things.
Yeah, exactly.
The last story here, because I don't want to end on Elon Musk. It's not as crazy and fun and exciting as Elon Musk, but we have instead that Allison Brie and Aubrey Plaza are teaming up for an indie comedy.
Hell yes.
That's all I got.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Pleased about it. I'm pleased about that choice.
I love those two.
Me too. They were in, what was that movie about the nuns?
Not sure, but that's the picture for this headline.
Oh,
so
good for me then.
Yeah, good for you for knowing that. Yeah.
Hey, I love Aubrey. She's the shit, dude.
They're both great. They're both great.
They're both great people.
Just love it. Just love it. Okay. Let's get into it. The movie of the week. Murph, do you want to introduce this movie for me?
Sure. So the movie of the week is The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Katie. I'm sort of a weirdo. My parents haven't figured me out yet. To be fair, it took me a while to figure myself out. My brother, also weird.
Hi, would you like to talk to me about dinosaurs? No. Okay, thank you.
And my mom.
Katie face cupcakes.
All of us, really.
How about we put our phones down and we can make 10 seconds of unobstructed family eye contact. Starting now.
Yes.
And it's on Netflix. I think it had a different name before, though. Disconnected?
Yes, I have a whole thing to say about that.
Okay, cool. So it's an animated movie. It's about this family who's kind of offbeat, and then like a robot apocalypse happens, and they have to kind of figure out a way to save everyone. And that's the movie.
Yeah, it's like the very like on paper unlikely group of heroes and family who have no good qualities about them that need to come together to stop a robot invasion.
Yes, exactly. That's
the classic.
The classic.
When we joke about it, but if you think about it, it's like if you read that on paper, you're like, I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, that's like the first Avengers movie,
the second Avengers movie,
Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, and all you know what?
Yeah,
all the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this movie, and usually I let my guests pick the movie of the week, but this one I'm like, Murph, we're watching this movie because I really wanted to see this movie. From the makers of Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse and the Lego movie. We have the creative minds, Lord and Miller Productions here of and helping with the script and production, all the stuff. It feels like it's one of their babies. And when you watch this movie, you feel it. Yeah. It's like, there's so much to talk about, but let me put a pin on that right now and talk about what it was first called when we first heard about it, which was Connected. You're right.
Yeah.
And with this movie, when it first hit YouTube and there was a trailer for it, it was pitched as an entirely different movie.
Okay.
And it was called Connected because it was the pitch was, and the way that the trailer was cut together, it was the most jarring thing ever. So the first half of the trailer was, this daughter and this entire family spends too much time on their phones.
Okay.
And the father is trying to get them to learn the lesson of technology and doing this much screen time is bad because we should spend more time with our family instead, and getting back into the root of all things, because technology used to not be a thing, but now it is, and everyone just spends their time on their phones, blah, blah, blah. It was that. And then the second half of the trailer, there was robots. And it kind of just completely 180 the premise of this movie.
Right.
So when you watch the original Connected trailer, it was like the most bizarre thing ever. And everyone's just like, what the fuck is this movie? I hate it, because what are you trying to talk about in this movie?
Yeah.
And then Netflix bought it, and they changed it back to its original name, which is The Mitchells versus the Machines. And then when another trailer came out after the renaming back to its original name, you're like, oh, I know what this movie is now.
Yeah.
This is so much better for it.
So much more fun, less preachy.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're like, why would I hated the idea of like, if you're going to commit to a premise like that, then make a movie about that. Why have robots in it?
Yeah, exactly.
But now knowing that the movie was always just about the family versus robots, so much more forgivable.
Yes. I will say I went into this movie like really blind, had no, like, the only thing I knew about the movie, I was like, it's called The Mitchells versus the Machines. I might have seen the trailer for Connected like way before and then promptly forgot about it. Going into it blind, it was really fun, because I am the person who, like, I don't care about spoilers. I just want to know things. So going into it blind was great, because I had no idea where it was going. And of course, like, the first bit of the movie before they like rewind back is like, the first bit of the movie is it's this family versus machines. And you're like, I was like, what the fuck? And then it reversed back, and I was like, to watch it again, I was like, man, it's a good time.
Yeah. It's a good time.
It's a really good time.
This movie's great. And I knew right away when you have like the just title or opening card of the movie, and you see, I already forget. It's like is it Paramount? No, it's the lady with the torch at the beginning of the movie. And then they start animating her and then just showing that personality. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be this type of wild animation movie.
Yeah. Or like the first time that the dad was like, he was like cheering or something, and she was like, you know what this reminds me of? That video of the gibbon, and they like superimpose the gibbon face over on top of the dad's face. I was like, okay. Or like the little like hearts that would shoot off. I was like, this is so cool.
Oh my God. Like, there's so much to say about this animation.
Absolutely.
And I was just doing some reading, and like, you can see it, right? Like, again, the minds behind the animation, Sony animation is just off their rocker right now. They're insane because, like, think of how much work they did with the Lego movie, and then Into the Spiderverse, which is just like perfection in terms of animation and just story and everything.
I'm just going to cut in real quick and say, I have not seen Into the Spiderverse. I know it's a cardinal sin, and I probably will watch it after this.
You please.
And I'll message you about it.
Please, because it is that.
Because I can't believe I haven't watched it, because I'm a massive John Mulaney fan, and I know he's Spider-Ham.
I cannot believe you haven't. It is like, one of the most.
I'm also a big Spider-Man fan. Should have said
then
that.
This is just mind-boggling.
I know.
To me.
And I was heartbroken when, like, it was like, Tom Holland's a great Spider-Man, but I was heartbroken that it wasn't like they weren't doing Miles Morales. I was like, why wouldn't you? Oh, it'd be so good.
And then they did Into the Spider-Verse, and it is a fucking amazing time. But that's so the animation in that movie is one of the most striking things, Into the Spider-Verse. And then when you have this more normal movie, which is just humans and robots, I guess, you're like, how do you bring the sensibilities of that type of just next level animation into this movie?
Yeah.
And they do so many cool things. And I'm not an animator, although like on Disney Dummies, the other podcast, we talk a lot about animation and stuff like that. But just looking at this, and it's like, you can tell, and who knows, because I didn't watch the behind the scenes, but for me, I can tell that the animators who did this, regardless of how much work it took, which is probably a lot, they look like they had a ton of fun doing it.
Jesus. Like all the first of all, this is animation like I've never seen it before. Like even just looking at the characters' faces, I was like, whoa, that's intense. And like almost I want to say the like drawn, the way they drew like the environments was really, really interesting. It does look like, it almost looks like a 3D comic book, which is so sick.
So many moments of that too. And they play around with like, so there's the 3D animation aspect of, there's like this almost like sketchbook quality to it when they start doing like random movements. You can see like, it's like if someone like drew with like colored crayons, not crayons, like pencils and stuff like that onto the screen. And there's like scribbles that are coming out of people's hands. And then like randomly it's like the Mitchells versus the Machines. And they just pause the screen. And then like a bunch of like fun art books animation like starts surrounding them.
Yes, it was so fun.
And it's so cool. And then like real, like there's like the meme with like the gorilla and stuff like that. So they have like real people, real clips, and then superimposing that on like their existing animation. They just go nuts with it.
And and the thing that I really like too is like it fit within the universe of the movie, right? Because the daughter, Katie, does all these like drawings. She's a filmmaker. She does all these drawings in her sketchbook. So when like those scenes of like drawings that are on lined paper come up, you're like, oh yeah, I could totally see this is something Katie has drawn and like is now like part of the movie that she made afterwards or whatever about this.
Yes. I have nothing but like amazing things to say about that animation.
It was
like,
it's spot on.
Yeah, it was really very, very good.
Very, very good.
Yes, I kind of wish we watched it on like a bigger screen. And this is like a movie, like, of course, if I was in the theaters and it was like, not that 3D makes it better or anything, but I find with animated movies, the 3D experience, they usually add a couple layers to it, which could be better and like better sound. It's like, that would have been perfect.
I also do want to talk for just a brief moment about the family's dog, Monchi.
Oh, let's talk.
I have never in my life, that dog came up on the screen and I was like, yes, he belongs here and he should be a star. And then just like, he didn't have an arc, obviously, because he's a dog and it's not like the dog like talked, but he was a character.
He was a pivotal character in the movie. Without him, the world wouldn't have been saved. Spoilers.
It was, and the when they're talking about after they save the world, and what is the son's name? I don't remember. Eric?
I don't remember either.
I think it was Eric, I'm gonna guess. And he's like, oh, can Monchi be wearing a tuxedo like a little gentleman? I was like, I identify. Yes, very much.
Yeah. Is it Aaron Mitchell? Is that it?
Oh, I think it's Aaron Mitchell. Yeah.
Aaron Mitchell? Yeah, I'm just looking at their cast list now.
And he was voiced by one of the creators, or maybe
Michael Rienda. Yeah. We have Abby Jacobson, Danny McBride, which I thought it was a really good Danny McBride performance because it wasn't like Danny McBride's usually in your face.
Danny McBride is very Danny McBride in his roles.
Yeah.
But he did a good job.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Sometimes he reminds me of, well, they're friends, but he has a Seth Rogen quality to him too. So the way sometimes he laughs and like talks is like, that's a Seth Rogen thing, even though it's Danny McBride. Eric Andre, Maya Rudolph, Olivia Colman, like Conan's in this.
Coleman's in this. Yeah. I started the movie and then immediately I was like, this is what I do with literally all animated movies. I have to stop and I have to look at the cast list. Because if I'm just sitting there like, that voice sounds familiar, that's all I'm going to be thinking about throughout the movie. I instantly knew it was Abby Jacobson. I'm a massive Abby Jacobson fan because I love Broad City.
I've never seen it.
Oh my God. It's perfection.
Okay. All right.
It's really good. Her and Alana Glazer are great. The other thing I will say too is I know that Abby Jacobson is queer. I'm not sure exactly how she identifies. And like in the movie, I did spy that Katie is wearing a gay pride pin. She wears it throughout the entire movie. And I was like, okay, so like she's a little offbeat. She doesn't like, her and her dad kind of have this strained relationship. I was super waiting for a coming out scene.
Right. But they didn't do it.
But they didn't do it. And then at the end, she's talking to her mom on FaceTime, and it's very casual, where the way her mom's like, "Are you and Jade official yet? Are you bringing her home for Thanksgiving?" And I was like, "We've done it."
Yes.
I was so pleased that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, the fact that this daughter is gay or however she identifies is not the reason that there is strain in this relationship. It's, that's not her character arc, is not like coming out to her family in this big emotional thing. And that's when they are all like, we're a strong family unit now. It was just like integrated into her character. It's just, she's gay, but that's not what she like, but she's a filmmaker.
She's gay. We know it. It's not a deal. It's not a big deal. It's just life.
Yeah.
And that's our daughter.
Exactly. I was so happy about it, because I don't know who doesn't know this by now, but I'm a queer person.
What?
Who? I'm coming out on Tongue's podcast.
Wow. We got the hot exclusive today.
Yeah, I'm a queer person, and I do oscillate between, like, I understand why we still need to have those scenes in movies and TV shows where it is like a proclamation of like, hey, I'm gay. And maybe it's emotional, maybe it's not. But like, to have media where it is just like, they planted that little seed. It wasn't queer baiting, which is a massive, gross thing that movies and TV shows do.
Yeah.
But it was real, but it's not like, to have it not be the reason there's strain between a father-daughter relationship. I super appreciated that. And I just like, she's gay, but more importantly, she's a filmmaker and she's a little offbeat.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, because like I like having the conversation with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole topic when being queer or however you identify as part of the story, whatever. Like, I think it's important, and we still live in a world where it's still a little dicey when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think there's elegant ways to present those type of things, but in this movie, like, the whole movie is not about that at all, right? And you're right, like, it's such a, like, just having you can do more with less, and that's what they did here.
Absolutely.
It's like, with these guys, that they're like, oh no, we're beyond just talking about it. Like, why do we need to talk about it? It's a thing.
Yeah.
So let's just mention it.
Yeah.
Go on. Like, and it was great.
Yeah. I literally, it's like, I was waiting for it through the whole movie, because when she was getting excited to go to college and she was talking about this girl, Jade, and I was like, okay, so I think that's what it's going to be. And then it never happened. I was like, it was extremely refreshing to see, like, the I think movies so often just bungle that. And the last movie I can point to is Happiest Season, that super bungled a gay relationship and just had to make it, like, again, another queer movie that is sad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we are still not at the point where movies can be like, where queer people can be happy in movies. It's always about something like tragic.
Yeah.
But I think we're starting to turn the corner. I think Pose is a big, the TV show Pose is a big reason for that. Where, like, yes, they talk about really difficult things on Pose, especially because of the time it's set in. It's set in the 80s during, like, the AIDS epidemic. And these are all, like, trans women of color, which, again, there are such big moments of joy on that show. And I think that's really important for queer stories, is like, not only showing, like, yeah, it is difficult to be queer sometimes, but also, like, there's such a joy in this identity. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. And it's I'm really happy we had that conversation too, because I noticed at the very end, and it was like, it's such a beautiful way to be presented. But the whole core of the story is not about that. It's about the family, right? And of course, like, that's kind of what you expected in a movie like this.
Absolutely.
It's about the family, and we've seen it and we've talked about it. It's just like family, unlikely heroes, robots. Like, in some way, we've seen some sort of movie like that. How do you make it interesting? And I think they did.
I think they nailed it. It was great.
I think they nailed it. Yeah. I think there's something to be said about, like, is the story itself original? And I think in some senses it is, and it's modernized in that's what makes it original, and the animation helps a ton.
Agreed.
And for me, like when I think about this movie now, even though I just watched it a couple days ago, I feel like it's the spirit of the Lego movie combined with the super animation prowess and heart of like Spiderverse, and you put it into this movie. I don't know if I would say I like this movie over those other two movies, but it's like very, very close.
Yeah.
But in terms of like spectacle and how much joy it brought me,
yes, for sure.
It was like I still loved it so much. It was so good.
The other thing I think they did really well is like having those moments of like reflection on social media and technology without it being overtly preachy. Like obviously there are some lines that are really like, we are saying something here. Like at one point, Eric Andre, who plays the like tech giant, is like, maybe I shouldn't have collected people's data and like done this whole thing. And you're like, but
and then they say something like, but some good things came out of it as well.
Exactly.
And I'm like, they
play like they really do play both sides of the coin. Or I loved that the perfect family on Instagram, the people who voiced them were John Legend and Chrissy Teigen.
Oh my God, I didn't know that until after.
Hard of these people who have like a perfect Instagram, and then Maya Rudolph's character is like trying to have this like awesome family Instagram that looks perfect. I think that was a really good commentary about it. And then her finding in the end, like, this is what my family is. Like, I think that's a really interesting conversation. I've had that conversation a lot over the past few weeks about like, Instagram is not real. Like, it's just not.
Yeah, it's not. It's so fake.
It's really fake. But I liked that conversation was in there too, but like subtly, not super preachy.
Yeah, that's what I think about like why this movie is successful is because like, again, on paper, it's a very to the numbers type of story and you pretty much know what's going to happen from beginning to end. But the way they handle it and the way they kind of like bring it together feels fresh. And it makes it's like, oh, can we still see movies like this with this similar story? How many times can you shove this story back in our face without me being like, all right, I get it. But like, I think they just, again, like you said, nailed it. They fucking nailed it.
The other thing too that was so fun was those little inserts they did of like viral internet moments. Like they had the Nyan Cat song, the song that like the father and daughter sing, My He, My Ho.
My He, My Ho. Yes.
It was a big like internet thing. Those little like small, like, of course, if like Katie was making things and putting them on the internet, she would have that knowledge of like the other viral things that were on the internet. I thought that was really cool. Those little like Easter egg pieces. Yeah.
Is there any specific moments? Like, we don't have to go through the entire story because I think people should just watch this movie.
I agree.
It's so good. But like, is there part of the moments, any specific moments that you like really, really liked?
I messaged you during the feed.
You did.
I was like, the Furbies killed me. And then the giant Furby coming out and being like, oh my God. It was
yes, because
I returned to the darkness once more. I was like, oh God. Yes.
Because these people understand that Furbies are nightmare. Absolutely. Like, they're just nightmare fuel.
Absolutely. But like it is really funny. It was so funny. Oh my God. Did you have a Furby when you were young?
No, but I've always kind of been adjacently around Furbies.
Me too. So, I was never allowed to have a Furby. My parents were like, no, you're not bringing that fucking annoying thing into our house.
Yeah, they're weird.
But my friend had a Furby, and I to this day, as a child, and to this day, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. But to see them as instruments of evil, I liked that a lot.
Yeah, it was. It was just, and yeah, you're right. The way like the big Furby talked is just amazing. Like just a spawn of darkness.
Yeah, I was like, also so stoked to see like once they had kind of formed into a cohesive unit, how like Katie and her dad were really coming together. Like there was a moment like when they were leaving the mall, like they were putting the tires back on, and Katie was like, you know, it would be so great if we like walked slow-mo away from the mall and there was fire in the background. And the dad was like, that would be a huge waste of time. And then it happens.
And then they do it.
And like he just becomes so invested. I really appreciated those moments. And I will say, because I said so at the beginning of the podcast, I feel like I have a very different relationship with my parents than other people have with their parents. Which is like, I've never, other than like when I was a teenager, which is completely normal. And also I was dealing with undiagnosed mental illnesses. So
sure. Yes.
But like, I still live with my parents. But I have never, like, me and my parents hang all the time. We watch YouTube videos together. Like, we are super weird together. I can still access a show like a movie like this where there is a strain between like a father-daughter relationship, because it's very human, and I get it. But I was like, I've never experienced this with my parents. My parents have always,
that's so interesting.
I know, my parents have always just kind of like got me.
See, Murph, now you're bragging about how great your family is.
I don't like, to be fair, like to put it in a little bit more context, like we worked hard at it, because again, not to make this soup serious, but I started going to therapy, and then like we had to have conversations about like effective ways to communicate with each other moving forward.
Yeah.
And kudos to my parents for being very open to that and not just being like, no, you're our daughter, we'll talk to you the way we want to, because we made you and we own you. No, my parents have always been like super cool. And yeah, it was like, I had a conversation. I've just been having conversations with people where they talk about their relationship with their parents, and I'm like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Wow. Yeah. I have to say, like, for me, like, I have not a strain. It's just I'm not sure what the word is, and I love my parents, but there's a distance to them that we don't work like that. And I've always really loved stories like this, to see families come together, and like, you know, the whole father-daughter stuff was really beautiful, I don't know, because like I'm not a daughter, I'm not a father, unless I'm Captain Meatball's father. I don't think he feels that way about me. He's not a daughter either. So where do I fall in all of this? No, but it's just like when I still see those moments of just like, the whole Katie and her father stuff was really great.
Really beautiful.
I love that stuff. Yeah. And yeah, for me, like I don't have that relationship with my family, and maybe closer with my sisters in that way. But like my parents, there's always, no matter what, some sort of gap. And that's fine. It's always kind of been like that. I think it's also a language thing too.
I was going to say, this could just be because like we have no cultural ties to anything, right? Like we're just white Canadian people who have been here forever.
So yeah, mine's like parents from a different continent altogether, and then coming here, me raised in a Canadian environment. So I think one way, they think another. So it's kind of like,
for sure,
I will never change their minds. They'll never change my minds. So we'll always have that distance between how we think and how we should act towards each other. Because I don't want to treat people the way they think I should treat people sometimes, and vice versa. It's a weird thing. So to see a family like this in this movie who have still challenges and still find a way to come together always makes me feel a little like hopeful in a way that's just like, you know what, if I have this like positive attitude and I try, and this whole concept of this movie is like, really just try to talk to one another, to understand one another, and maybe you can meet halfway, is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. And just like, I don't know, they wrapped it up really nicely, I think. But yeah, I mean, sometimes in reality, like you'll never get your parents will never get you. It's just having that openness to try to see things. This is me being a social worker. It's like having that openness to see where they're coming from, at least. You know what I mean? But this movie nailed it. I also really loved the relationship between Katie and her younger brother.
Oh, so nice.
Especially like, I don't know. I love her being like, I get that you're a fucking weirdo, and like, I'm totally cool with it. Or like when
I'm a weirdo too.
Yeah,
and like they both do their T-Rex thing.
And her saying
wonderful.
like, I'm so happy to have a brother because like now I have a best friend for life. I was like, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, and then when like later in the movie, like when he gets a little disappointed in her, it's kind of like she feels that. She's like, oh, I let down my brother and my best friend. And it's just like, ooh, there's just a lot of like little things like that going on in the movie.
Well, and you can see throughout the movie her saying like, you know, obviously she's talking about her dad, but when she's saying things like, you know, I just told him what he wanted to hear so I could get away from here and go be with my future. You could see he is so hurt by that. Like the little brother is so hurt by that because he's like, well, I'm here too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say another moment that I so loved was Aaron gets trapped in the little like hexagon, and then Maya Rudolph's character goes full like Rambo in the forest.
Yeah. She goes like,
yes, bitch.
She goes nuts.
She goes nuts. It was so funny.
Yeah, and you know what? Like like that beat in a movie is also something I feel like happens every now and then. Like the mother, unassuming mother who's just a caretaker, goes kind of like not nuts, but like, well, in this case, she does go nuts.
She does,
but she goes like in a killer mode to defend her son, maternal instinct kind of thing. And I think like on paper, again, not that interesting, but they make it work in this movie. And it's a large part is like the way it looks and the way she her character emotes that emotion of like, no, this is my son, you fucker.
Yeah. And they even set it up before, right? Because when they're in the mall and that pillar falls, like they're running away from the giant Fergie. They're running away from Fergie. She's singing Glamorous. That pillar falls on either Eric or Deborah Bott. Who were great characters.
Those are great.
Fred Armisen. And I knew it was Fred Armisen from the first time Deborah Bott opened his mouth. I was like, that's Fred Armisen. But that pillar falls on one of the bots and she like lifts the pillars, you know, harkening back to stories we hear about like mothers lifting cars off babies. I was like, all right, that's sick.
Yeah. Can we call you mother now?
Can we call you mother now?
Yeah.
Father, what is death? Like, oh shit.
Yeah, those stupid, like not stupid, they're amazing moments that are just like when he asks that question, like, what is death? And then they zoom in
and like
for,
the background darkens. Amazing.
And it's just like a 1 second thing. It's like a super quick punchline.
Yeah.
And then they go out and it's this movie has so many like quick jokes too.
Yeah.
To go on top of their regular jokes.
Agreed. And yeah, it never like, this is a film for sure, like kids could watch, like a family could watch with their kids. But again, I like, there was never a moment or a joke where I was like, oh, this is specifically pandering to children.
Yeah.
Which I think happened, like, I don't know. I've never watched, I don't know why I'm using this example because I've never watched Despicable Me, but like, I feel like like Minions were specifically designed in those movies for like young kids.
Yeah.
And also like 40-year-old aunts on Facebook.
Yep. And bubbly, because I'm drinking bubbly now and Minions are all over bubbly for some reason. And I'm like,
I hate Minions. Can I just say that? I think they're so stupid. Sometimes they're on like the stickers for bunches of bananas we get, and I hate it. Anyways, but yeah, watching this movie, there was never a time where I was like, oh yeah, this is pandering to children. I totally see that. No, like the jokes all felt like pretty highbrow. Yeah. Like there was never a joke that I expected really. Or even if I did expect a moment, because like you said, the animation really carries it through where it looked so good that you're like, yes, I'm so invested in this.
It just adds that extra punch into it, right? Because even when they do like the Mitchell surprise or Mitchell special, every time they do the Mitchell special and then they end with like that fun graphic of them in the air, it's like you just made like a pretty cool moment that's like in almost every other movie into this special amazing moment because you ended it with your personality. Yes. That's
the thing you were saying, like there were beats of this movie where you're like, oh, I expected that to happen, like especially like the mom seeing Aaron being dragged away.
Even the screwdriver, where you're like,
yes.
oh, the screwdriver, of course the screwdriver is going to come back.
Yes.
But then it does, and you're like, fuck it.
You're just
I'm
like,
in.
yes, I'm so here for this. Yeah, you're are so pleased. Or even like, I knew the Overlord would be like Olivia Colman, the little phone.
Yes.
But like they did it in such a way where I was like, of course she is, and I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, when she's like just on the table and just throwing a tantrum on the phone, it's really funny.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a really good movie. Really, really good. I watched it. I came down this morning and I was like, we're all watching this together, by the way. Like, it's happening.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, that's great. So your family liked the movie then too?
I don't know. We're going to watch it with dinner tonight, probably.
Oh, that's tonight movie.
That's a tonight movie,
good.
But they're going to like it.
I want to watch it again. And, the movie makes fun of this whole, I should say, like, of course we've seen this movie, the premise of this movie over and over again, but this movie knows it too, because they introduce right away of like this kill code on their faces. And the guy who's just like, hey, we're just so the robots don't turn evil, I'm gonna use this kill code on your face and stuff like that. They're really like, they know.
Yeah, they get it. Yes.
They get it. Yeah. But they still do it anyways, and it's still fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, any final thoughts before we wrap it up here?
I think I've said all that I feel like I need to say.
How many Monchies is this movie? Also, that moment when his eyes comes together and he still messes it up is so great.
Yeah, I think it would have. It would have really cheapened it if his eyes go straight and then he was able to catch it. I was like, I'm so glad that it bounced off his face, anyways.
Pig, dog, loaf
of bread. Yeah,
it's just loaf of bread, and then that
is so what pugs are. Like, I'm glad now that there is a movie that talks about the absurdity of the pug.
It's true. And because of that, like random, he's such a pivotal dog in this movie.
Really
he saves the world. It's his face that shuts down all the robots. Yeah. Spoilers. Yeah. But how many Monchies is this movie out of?
I mean, is 20 too high?
It's your scale.
I'm going to give it 20 out of 25 Monchies. I'm kidding. No, I'm giving it 20 Monchies because it was so good. Oh man, was it good?
I'm glad. And yeah, I'm happy because usually it's so fun, and I knew that, and I was like, Murph's gonna love this, because again, I usually let the guests choose their movie, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Murph's gonna watch this movie. If she's never heard of it, even better, because I just feel like it's gonna be a good time, and it was
so fun. It was really, really fun, which is like, I don't know. I feel like cinema lately, or theater, like movies lately, have been mad fun.
Yeah, they're downers.
Yeah, it's nice to have like a movie that like takes itself the right amount of serious and is super fun.
Yeah, because even when they do go serious and they give you the heartfelt moments, they work.
Yeah, absolutely.
They work, and they don't feel like it's heavy-handed.
Yes, I agree.
You have lines, and one of the big lines in the movie is something, I forget exactly what it is, but it's like talking about like how family's tough, but all we have are family at the end of the day, and it's just like that stuff, and it's just like, yes, I've heard this line. It's cheesy. It works in this moment, and that's what matters.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it made me feel something in that moment too. So I'm just like, again, even though I've heard this line before, I'm just like, you know what? It's so true. It's so true.
The biggest thing that got me was she was talking on FaceTime to her mom at the end, and they're saying like, oh, they're giving us a congressional medal. Like, we're supposed to be in Washington. Do you want to fly? And then it's them in the car. I was like, oh,
here they go again on the road trip. All right, Murph. Well, yes, I if it wasn't clear, we both love this movie a lot. I'm definitely going to watch this again at some point. It's such a nice film, and I'm so excited to see how this studio ups its animation game again.
Yes.
Murph, you'll watch Spiderverse in between that, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm probably going to watch it after this because I don't have anything to do today.
Oh, excellent. I'm expecting a text later today then. Cool. And for myself, actually, you know what? Before we get that, Murph, do you have anything to plug? And if not, what other like shows and movies and stuff do you like that you want to plug?
So I will plug very quickly 2 things.
Okay.
I will plug the film Promising Young Woman. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've heard about it.
It is an unbelievable film. I urge everyone to watch it. It's unbelievable. Go into it blind again, because it's about a very serious topic. So be aware. The other thing is I have become obsessed with Critical Role. I don't know if you know what that is. I'm obsessed with them. I watched.
What is it for the people who don't know what
so
that
Critical
is?
Role is it's a streaming show. They do it on Twitch, but you can also find the episodes on YouTube. And it is a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that is played by voice actors. So I think the most prominent voice actors that people would know is Ashley Johnson, who did Ellie in The Last of Us, and Laura Bailey, who played Abby in The Last of Us 2. But they're all voice actors. Like Matthew Mercer was Leon Kennedy in the Resident Evil films. It's unreal. It's so fun. I urge people to watch it. It's so great. It's really great.
Hell yeah. I've always wanted to, and I've heard about it, and I've seen it, and I just see it all over the place, and I never committed yet. So this is great.
Yeah, don't get overwhelmed by how far behind you're going to be, because you're going to be behind.
Okay.
If you start now, you're just going to be behind.
But that's fine, right?
Yeah,
I can just jump in?
You can just jump in. First campaign, second campaign, pick your poison. It's all really great.
All right. I'm into it. For myself, you can find the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. Check out all the great shows in there. Buy a t-shirt. We have t-shirts now on the Pod Cavern merch store. Woo, 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 woo. All right. And before we go, Murph has been preparing her famous catchphrase, and here it is.
You can catch more meatballs with a fishing rod than you can with not a fishing rod.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.